excited for today's webinar, where we're going to focus on online reputation and standing out from a crowd. So this is part 2 of our crushing title sales in a shifting market. And hope everyone's ready. We've got a ton of good things for you today.
We do, and we are so excited to have you guys back. We know that the first one had a ton of takeaways, and we are just super excited to be here and share with you some additional opportunities for you guys to implement immediately in the shifting market. So thanks, Lori, for having Sam and I here today.
Thanks so much for allowing us to be a part of this. You know, I thought we have the perfect quote to kick it off this morning. If you guys saw, inflation came down just a little bit, a couple tenths of a point. Not as bad as last month or the month before, but still higher than they expected. And a lot of that is coming from, rental rates and things like that. So the real estate market is continuing to be a little bit in flux. We're not exactly sure what, where we are and what exactly is happening. And so this quote is absolutely perfect. Don't watch the clock do what it does, just keep going, right? It's about having a strategy to continue to move forward rather than be concerned about the idiosyncrasies of this specific market. If you've been in this business for a little while, that we've weathered some storms. We had it made in the shade the last couple of years, and it was awesome. And now things are shifting a little bit, but having a strategy to keep putting one foot in front of the other, not only sustaining the business that you have, but being able to grow it when everybody else is kind of tucking like a turtle, right? I think is really important. So with that, let's kick off with Allie. Let's talk a little bit about online rep.
I am so excited. I think this is one of the key ways that you can change your business. And I have proof of this in the world that I just came from, which was on the direct title agent side. And I think it's just so important that we talk about reviews and making sure that we have a review strategy. I think it's one of the best and key ways that you can access opportunities that you don't even know that are out there. So we developed where I was before, we developed an online review strategy, and it ended up actually securing us business from places that we never thought. We actually took over the FSBO market because of the online strategy that we had in place. So I think really having a review strategy, where are you sending reviews and how are you requesting those reviews from not only your buyers and sellers, but also from the people that use you and send you business every single day? Does that look like a QR code at a closing table? Does that look like a request through email via video to your client before they get to the closing table? We have an incredible takeaway review strategy that you can implement today that we'll send you afterwards. But having a review strategy is huge. And I actually pulled some data this morning, and it says short-term reviews. So if you implement a review strategy today and you get a few, short-term reviews lead to an increase of revenue by 5 to 6%. And long-term review strategies have a tendency to increase revenue by 18% in the long run if you consistently do your review strategy. And that's across all different services, all different consumer experiences. But I think it's so important that we really make sure that we're visible online, and reviews is such an easy and key way to do it. The other thing is, who are your raving fans? Who are the people that know, love, trust you, have used you for years, and would never go anywhere else? And I can only encourage you, is these people love you so much that if you ask them to leave a review, if you ask them to create a video for you, or maybe even have a reciprocity day where you actually create a video for them and they create a video for you in your own space, I think it would be such an amazing opportunity for you guys to share in that raving fan together. And with that, also asking for a shout out. So if you don't have time to put together a raving fan day or a video day, ask for a shout out from the people that love you, and make sure to give shout outs to the people that you also appreciate and work with consistently. It's so important that we give love and give thanks back to the communities we serve. And it's also a lot easier to ask for that shout out after you do that. So reviews is huge, and we'll send that review strategy after the webinar.
Awesome. Two things there that I think of The first one being, you want to leave somebody a review and say, hey, I just left you a quick review. I'm hoping that it has a great impact on your online reputation. By the way, here's the link. I'd love for you to check out my page and maybe leave me a review as well. 9 times out of 10, they're going to do it. And then
Totally.
I'll talk a little bit in one of my portions about standing out a little bit about reviews and testimonials. But I know Lori had a great strategy that I think, timeliness is really important when it comes to reviews. If I ask you 30 days after closing, the chances of me getting it is like 0. If I ask you at the closing table, Lori, like chances pretty good, right? You had a strategy right there at the table.
Absolutely. If you have a QR code that they can just quickly scan while you're out making copies, just ask them. Take 2 minutes, leave me a review.
Yeah.
Easy.
So with
Doesn't have to be complicated. It's a little QR code that can be on your closing table.
I love that. And then
Yeah.
from there, so I had a template saved in my Canva account. So when that review came in, I automatically copy and pasted that template or that review into the template, and I shared it on my socials. And it allowed for me to give exposure to my closers and to the company. But at the same time, it also it brought in questions the other way. So I had people reach out to me and say, hey, I have been looking for a new escrow officer. Can you introduce me? Just based on the reviews and whatnot that I shared on the closers that I had. So it was such a wonderful opportunity to hear from people that I didn't know that were looking for a new closer or were looking for a new experience or a new opportunity. So you just never know what it's going to provide.
I love that.
Yeah. And don't forget, your raving fans are the people that really want to see you succeed. So in a market like this, I've reached out to my friends in the past and be like, hey, I need your help. Could you help me with something like this? And they'll do it, right? And so your loyal clients and your raving fans are there to support you just like you're supporting them. And so the task is sometimes just to ask, I think.
And I think we need to not just focus on our clients and consumers, but who are the people that we work with daily that, maybe have different influence in our world. Maybe it is, also the lender community or people that we collaborate together on executing events in the community. You just never know who would be like, yes, these people are, 1, are amazing, and 2, I know provide incredible service. So getting deeper in the people that we're asking for those reviews from is really a smart idea as well.
Awesome. Love it.
And then the second, I shouldn't even say second because there's so many awesome bullet points in here. There should say 7 pieces of information. So educating is absolutely huge when it comes to online reputation. And we need to really focus on UGC, which stands for user generated content. And the reason this is so important is the demographics that are buying and selling homes today heavily rely on UGC to make purchasing decisions. And that's on services, that's on, products, that's on e-com, all of these different things. UGC is such a huge piece of not only what we need to be preparing now, but also moving forward. You're going to see your millennial generation and your Gen Z generation really want user generated content, meaning I always loved taking text messages that I got from clients or emails that I got from clients that had questions in them, and then leveraging that to create content online. What are those questions that people are messaging you daily that you can then turn around and answer, not just in an email back to them, but on your social media platforms, on your website? All of those places are such great pieces of information to share, and you don't even have to think of content. They're giving you the content to actually put in those spaces. So UGC is not only huge now, but it's going to become even more important as our communities get older. And then what is that message online? What are you putting across all of your platforms? Is it clear and consistent? And the reason that I think it's really important for us to get clarity in what we're sharing is the big disruptors in our markets are very clear and consistent in what they're trying to do. So it's important that we simplify our process. A lot of consumers don't know what title is. So it's really important that we simplify our message online and across all platforms. And I suggest that we do a digital audit every 6 months, at least every 6 months. So I had all of my clients audit themselves online every 6 months. And that's auditing not only your messages, your visions, your reviews, your branding, all of these things, and auditing that. And you know what? I didn't even put the bullet point in here, but making sure that if your employees and your people in your crew are sharing things online, that you guys have a brand strategy, that you guys are sharing things inside of your branding and messaging that sits inside of your platforms. So I think it's really important that we stay inside those messages and do that digital audit every 6 months.
Hey,
If
Allie,
you
are
want,
there-
go ahead. You're good.
Sorry, I was gonna say, are there certain things they should be checking for in that audit?
Yeah, so I check the main thing that I check for is completion and consistency. So completion, making sure that every single aspect of each platform is completed. And then consistency, is my messaging on my Facebook business page similar or the same as my messaging on my Google business page, on my Instagram business page, on my LinkedIn business page? And the reason that's so important, obviously, is we want to have a clear and concise message, but we also want Google to know who we are and that we're the same company in every single space. So no matter where our client is, let's say our client only exists on Facebook, we want to make sure that they're getting the same message as somebody who finds us on Google. It's just really important, obviously for SEO, but for the consumer across the board. And then this one is the last bullet here is so awesome. And I think it's so unique. And I love bringing this to the table because people don't think about this, but leveraging local influencers. And there are so many opportunities here. When you think of local influencers, think of the key people in your market, in your city that are causing disruption or that are getting visibility. For some people in small towns, that might be, maybe it's a mayor or a city council member. For people where I just moved from Phoenix to Ohio, don't ask why. But for Phoenix, there were so many local influencers, and there were like a lot of them were, stay-at-home moms or designers or people who were foodies around town. And think about how you as a title company could message these local influencers and get them to talk or collaborate with your brand online with some of your clients or just with you, and figure out how you can leverage their influence in your specific town. And I have some ideas behind that. So if you want to learn more about how to leverage your local influencers, definitely reach out to us as the MTD team, and we can easily do that. And the one thing I missed on the last page, Sam, I don't want to forget about it. I think it's one of the most important pieces in regards to the reviews is always respond to every review, good or bad, no matter what. The good ones are easy to respond to. The bad ones, we get bad reviews all the time. I used to work for a chiropractor, and we had people review our office that had never stepped foot in there. So getting good at responding to bad reviews, I think, is really important, because it just shows that you care, and it shows that you want to do better as a company and you want to give better service. So making sure that you're responding to every review is really important. And we can give you some ideas on how to do that as well, especially for those not so wonderful ones.
Well, and I think don't be afraid of the bad ones either, because in all honesty, if you look at a company and there are only glowing reviews, aren't you going to be like, really?
Right.
I don't think that's possible. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'm like super skeptical on Amazon. I'm like,
It can't be 5 stars all the time. Everybody's human. There's going to be something.
I think
Exactly.
actually it's funny because it's kind of like the train wreck mentality, right? You slow your car, you stare. We just do it. Like, this is how we're wired. Like, I'm sorry, but it's who we are. It's the same thing with bad reviews. You look at a business, you click on that, you sort them to worst, and that's what you look at. And it's amazing. Like, you are not going to build a relationship with a future client or customer through a good review. You're going to build a relationship through a bad review. And so
How you dealt with it.
yeah. And so I still have the script in my head that I used to use for myself when I was replying to all of our title companies' reviews. It was basically something along the lines of like, we strive for 5-star service each and every time we open a new file on a home with anybody. We're so sorry that that's not what you received. My name is Sam Trimble. My cell phone number is 915-269-7634. I would really like to talk to you, find out a little bit more about what happened, and see if I can turn that frown upside down. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks for the opportunity to make this right. Done. Right?
Yeah.
I have done a few things there. One, if somebody sees it, they see the response. I wasn't defensive. I wasn't negative. I was gracious. I was appreciative of them leaving the review, and I offered a solution. Two, the person sees it, feels bad, either deletes it or removes it. Or three, if people see it and nothing ever changed, they literally feel bad for me at this point, right? Like, I have literally gained an empathetic based relationship with this person without ever meeting them. And you cannot do that with a positive review. So I actually I find bad reviews as an opportunity.
I don't know if you guys are Yelpers at all, but I'm a review person. I leave reviews. I don't know if that's a millennial trait or what, but I'm actually a local influencer on Google, but I am a Yelper as well, and I will leave reviews. And the amount of people that change their review on Yelp is extremely high. And they actually say it in the review. I changed my review to this. They reached out to me. We discussed it. They talked about a solution and a change in service and a change in plans. And I have since revised my review. And I think it's so incredibly amazing to be able to see that. And not only that, but the reviewer to actually put it online to say, hey, they did this, and this is why I changed my review. So I think it's really cool when you see, that actually in action.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful how it can impact.
Half of my bad reviews, they thought I was a title loan place. They were like, they charged 25% and I never got my car back. And I'm like, hey guys, this is not. That's a tip. If you're in the title business, you might want to think about getting into the title loan business. I got so many calls saying like, what are your rates right now? And I'm like, huh?
I know. I think for the first 3 years I was in title, my mom thought I dealt with cars. So that's exciting.
That's always, So now we're going to talk about standing out from the crowd, which I feel like, Sam, you have no trouble doing.
No.
A market shift is an opportunity, right? Like all this stuff is opportunity. If you wanted to go into the title loan business, that's an opportunity, like all of these. So for me, I really do see a shift in the market as an opportunity. The goal is, and I was just talking to Kishore in Connecticut this morning, shout out if he's watching this later, I think he will be, an attorney that we work with. And we were talking about, man, right now the goal is just to stand out, to differentiate yourself, to capture a few more eyeballs, to kind of stand out from the crowd. It isn't even necessarily about having, I hate to say this because I love having a better experience and I want to strive. Elon Musk has a great quote that's like, if you're not in business to be the best, then why are you in business, right? Like we should be striving to be the best at whatever it is that we do. Whether you're a janitorial service, a title company, a car dealer, whatever it is, right? That said, statistically, it's not even about whether or not they have an infinitely better experience. It's about, a feeling that they got, right? It's a lot more simple to break it down as we move into a shifting market, getting eyeballs, differentiating yourself. So there's a couple quick things here as a title sales rep you want to do. When I think about the clients that we're going after, real estate agents are more active on social media and trying new things and running ads and all this stuff than any other group of professionals in this country. And I challenge you to challenge that statement, right? So as a real estate agent, I want to do business with people that are like-minded. If I'm trying to be on the leading edge of social tech and, lead generation online, taking that to a next level, I want to work with a company that is kind of at my level, that is striving to be good at those things too. So there's a couple little things here I think you should keep in mind. One is super simple. If you didn't know it, you can head over to my LinkedIn if you want, just search Sam Trimble on LinkedIn. And you'll see that instead of a profile image, I have a cover video, right? It's a GIF that starts playing when you get to my page. It looks different. It has the highlight around it, similar to when you post a story on Instagram or something, but it looks different and stands out when you get there. So if I'm going to talk about being a marketer and helping grow real estate agents' business and all this stuff, I need to do that, right? I need to actually be that. And so one super simple thing, the max is 30 seconds. I talk about who I am, where I'm from, what I'm into outside of work. and say, thanks for taking the time to let me introduce myself. Very simple. But a LinkedIn cover video stands out. And that becomes something that when people see it, they say, hey, Sam, how did you do that? You just asked me for an appointment, right? So if a real estate agent says, hey, I saw this, how did you do that? Hey, I saw your QR business code or business card, whatever it might be, they're now asking me for my time. I'm totally flipping the script on saying, can I please take you to coffee? Can I please take you to lunch? Can we go to Topgolf? They're asking me for my time. So I think the LinkedIn cover video is kind of a fun, easy way to do that. If you are as ADD as me, you need structure in your life, right? Facebook lists is still a way, they've changed it a little bit, but it's still a way to be more intentional with your time on social media. Create a list, you go to the left-hand side on desktop only, click on friends, click on custom list. You can name it whatever you want. I had past clients, future prospects, and industry experts, right? And I would go in there, throw people into that list, and then I would take the time to click on that list and engage with those specific people. You used to be able to see the feed a lot easier. Now you kind of have to just click through them, but you can also post to those specific people, right? If you're trying to get a specific message across that maybe, you know, your cousin that lives in Iowa doesn't care about this, so maybe you kind of segment this list. But it turns, you know, 30 minutes of doom scrolling to 5 minutes of very intentional activity that starts actual conversations, which builds to actual relationships.
And not complicated to do.
And it's not complicated to do, right? And again, if you have any questions about any of this, reach out to Lori and we could definitely connect and work through it. And then the last thing I would say on this part is get active within groups. Groups have become much more robust on LinkedIn as of late. LinkedIn dumped like $500 million into that platform during the pandemic, right? They've taken it to another level. So not only there, but also on Facebook. If there are not a lifestyle or real estate group for your specific area that you serve, create one. You get to then be the king or the queen of that conversation, right? God bless the queen, by the way, man. Really, man, I loved her. She was, anyway, I'm a monarch nerd. Like I love the monarch. You're learning all kinds of fun things about me today. So that group activity, you know, if you end up being the title person in that group that actually chimes in, that actually can answer some questions from time to time, can actually point them in the right direction or be a connector, like we talked about with Ali last time, you are adding value to people without even being there in a very quick and simple way. Those deals are starting to come your way. And so I would really recommend looking for lifestyle groups, not just real estate specific, because that kind of pigeonholes the group. I live in Upper Mesa Hills on the west side in El Paso, Texas. If I wanted to do this right now, and I had done this, and the group still exists actually, but it was like Mesa Hills lifestyle. So we focused on things that were lifestyle. It wasn't all about real estate. That was some of it, but it was about our favorite shoe shop. It became kind of like a little neighborhood page, but I was the group expert, right? I was the one that kind of controlled the narrative when it came to that. So that is a huge opportunity. And in the LinkedIn world, I think it's a missed opportunity in a lot of ways.
Yeah. We had some amazing groups in Arizona. There was a females in real estate group that ended up getting, like they collaborated online, but when they brought it offline, there was 50, 60 real estate agents, lenders, title people. We didn't limit it to anybody. You just had to be a female and had to be in real estate. And the amount of back and forth and the amount of deals that took place there and relationships that were made was incredible. And then the neighborhood websites that were more like community based, they were 30,000 large. It was crazy how big they got. And being able to manage that was a little bit difficult. So there was, multiple managers of that page, but it was a huge opportunity to drive traffic and drive business. So I agree. Those were amazing.
As you talk about pages too, if anyone's on this call and you're not in the Title Nerds group on our Facebook page, search for Title Nerds on Facebook. Lori, Ali, or I will make sure that you get admitted into there. And we're 1,500 strong. A year ago, there were like 200 people in there. Now there's over 1,500 people in our same shoes from all over the country. So please become a part of that conversation as well. I love testimonials, right? Like, nobody likes a bragger. I always think of Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite. I used to be able to throw a football over those mountains over there. Like, nobody likes a bragger, but people want to know about you and your business. They want to hear it from outside third parties, right? So that's why video testimonials are such a huge thing for me. I saw a title sales rep on Instagram last night, actually, that had been going back and forth and doing exactly what we were talking about, had been sending testimonial videos to some of her clients, customers, different people in the community. They were sending videos back. They were just in their car, right? They were sending videos back and she was posting them. It was someone else talking about how great her service was. Somebody else talking about how responsive she was, how quickly she got back to them, you know, how fair their pricing was if it's in an area where pricing is negotiable, all of these things. So it's coming from somebody else. It's funny. We tend statistically to trust other people significantly more than the business itself, right? So like if I as a business say, oh, we have this much experience and we always have a turn time of X amount of days, they are kind of question that, right? But if it's somebody outside saying, man, every single time I do a transaction with this group of people, I get a commitment within X amount of days. And anytime I reach out, I always have a response within 2 hours, right? Like now it's real, it becomes real. So even though no one likes a bragger, let your raving fans do the bragging for you. Like Lori had mentioned before, closing is the best time. If I wait for some kind of a testimonial a few days after closing, a month after closing, the chances of me getting that are nil. That will not happen, right? We have all moved on in our life. We have other things. The perfect strategy for title sales reps and closers and title companies is what Lori talked about. In that moment, hey, congratulations. Give your hand a rest. You don't have to sign anything else. I'm going to go make a couple quick copies. If you wouldn't mind scanning that quick QR code and leaving us a quick review, I'd really appreciate it. Congratulations. I'll be right back. The great thing about asking for these at closing, right? Whether it's a QR code to leave it online, whether it's saying, hey, would you mind if I just asked you a little bit about how this transaction went and pull your phone out? No matter what the transaction was like, they could hate the inspector. They're mad at their agent. They think, you know, the city they're mad at, the mortgage company, they're mad at us, they're mad at everybody. When they sign that last document, there's a relief. I got through it. I'm here. I'm at the finish line. All of a sudden there's a release of serotonin and I feel good. So it literally physiologically is the perfect time to ask too. And so most people, whenever I would pull out my phone and start to record something, they would be like, oh, I don't want to be on camera. I had a really great experience, right? Like they would say like, no, don't do it. And then they were just like, you know, like, so they'll say that they may not want to do it, but they'll end up doing it. And that voice and that face from that person is so much better than anything else. This becomes content that never goes out of style. This is evergreen content. Someone talking about how well they were treated by your team at your company is going to sound good today, and it's going to sound good 10 years from now. So that's kind of the fun thing about it too. And a little bit of a best practice thing, you know, you could tell realtors that they should be doing this, but we should be doing it both on our personal pages as title salespeople and on our company pages. Create a highlight on Instagram that is an overwhelming amount of testimonials. When I click on that highlight with a little star icon or whatever, and I see 80 dashes at the top of the screen of different 15, 20-second testimonials, that's impressive. That's like me Googling you and seeing 150 reviews. I see that. There are a lot of people. You have 4 or 5 people that did videos saying that you're great. Okay, cool. You have 100. You guys are obviously awesome, right? And so that should really be a part of our strategy, getting that quick content, video content. We can turn that into all kinds of stuff. You could loop it into a video using something like Quick to where it was just compliment after compliment after compliment. Post it around Thanksgiving and say, here's what our clients are saying about us, but we just wanted to thank you, El Paso, for making us your title company, right? Like all of this content can be used in tons of different ways.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to drop something. You talking made me think of, there's a real estate team in Burlingame, California, that their entire world that they've built all of their business on is solely reviews. So I'm going to drop their link in their actual website link in the chat. I want you guys to take a look at it because it is absolutely incredible what they've created, and they get pictures. They actually get high resolution pictures of all of their clients in their new homes. And it's one of the coolest things. But then every single one of their blog posts, almost every single one of their blog posts, is their client review and takeaway. And it goes through questions that they ask all of their clients and just the feedback that they've gotten. And you guys can definitely adapt this into your title business as well. And I think it's just such a great view of what all you can do with those reviews and those testimonials.
It's like the proof is in the pudding, right? If I go
100%.
if I go someplace and I'm looking for, some sushi someplace, I'm out of town, and I Google sushi near me, 10 places come up. Maybe I even recognize the name of one of them. Maybe it's a national place. One place has, 15 reviews, one has 3 or 4, one has 20, one has 255 reviews.
Yep.
I have instantly made my decision. I don't even know if the reviews are real. I didn't even read them. The sheer number of that gives me the empirical data that I need to make that decision without thinking about it again. It's the same thing in our business. If consumers are educated, they're doing their own research. They're questioning their realtors and saying, where are you sending me? Who are these people? When you back that up with a substantial amount of reviews, the decision is already made. And that turns into a whole nother marketing strategy. Having more reviews than anyone within 100 miles, all of those things into strategy. So I'm just a total review nerd.
Think about like how, iPads weren't a thing when I was little, but they are a thing now. And think about the kids that are sitting on YouTube. And the reason that they click on certain videos is because of the amount of likes that they have or views that they have. So when you're talking about like training our brains from when we're little to when we're growing up, like this is the first iteration of reviews being important. So if you can nail down the strategy now and you nail down your testimonials now and you leverage it, I think, you're just going to be able to take off into the future when you have, your Gen Zs and your Gen Alphas who are raised thinking, 15,000 reviews and likes was minimum. If you can get there in the next 10 years, that's huge.
I wanted to kind of wrap up with something that we touched on last time, because not only is this what I got the most feedback on and most requests for personally, but I also think it's so important. So I wanted to shift. Last week or last session, a few weeks ago, we talked about the WFG Connect forum, which we gave as a takeaway. We're going to send it again this time, which is a forum to create more than just one relationship with some of your top clients, right? So it's a form that you could submit to your manager, to the owner, to the president of the company, to the receptionist, to whoever it might be. It literally systematizes them reaching out to that person and thanking them for their business or making them feel better after maybe a deal that didn't go so well or whatever. I wanted to turn that into a challenge this time. I would challenge each and every one of you on this call to submit this form to someone in your company, whoever it might be. It could be the first impression person at the front. It could be an examiner in the back that's working hard. It could be the president or owner or whoever it might be. Send them this form, ask them to reach out, and then watch what happens. When somebody is made to feel like their business actually matters, not, hey, thank you so much for your business, it means a lot to me. No, something out of the ordinary, a handwritten note, a phone call from someone they don't even know, just saying thank you. It is amazing at what happens. If you're getting 50% of somebody's business right now, and you have a pretty good relationship, but they're still kind of splitting themselves between you and a competitor of yours, I guarantee you that if you do a couple of these Connect forms, you will watch that 50% ticker move just from that single activity. I promise you that. And I literally did that myself in the past. So I'm going to issue that challenge. I would love to hear some testimonials as to what happens there. There's enough of you on here that I think we'll get some pretty cool results. And then the other one was the VIP club that I talked about. Statistically, what we found out is that from the first time somebody says yes and sends you an order, to turn them into a loyal client, it's not the second, third, or fourth transaction they send you. It's by the fifth one, they have now become a loyal client or customer of yours. So how do you get to that fifth one, right? Like there has to be a way to get to that fifth one and really kind of systematize it. So I'm going to say again, the VIP club kind of onboarding. And it's just something that we've used in the past. And actually Wendy Lunt, an MTD from the Pacific Northwest, shared this with me a couple of years ago. And we've kind of tweaked it a little bit, but it's a very thoughtful way to take someone systemically from that first through that second, third, fourth, and to that fifth order, which now means they are yours, right? And now it's up to us to maintain them and take care of them as we know we should. But I think those are both really important. So I'm going to resend those. And again, please reach out to us. Let us know how the challenge went on the Connect forum. I promise you, you will see activity, you will build loyalty, and your brand will continue to grow no matter what the market shift. And at the end of the day, just being grateful. Not only am I grateful to Lori for having us, I'm grateful to work alongside Allie, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you who hung out with us for a few minutes. Now it's up to us to go out and tell our clients and customers how much they actually mean to us. In a shifting market, it means more than it ever has. And so thank you makes all the difference. And with that, Lori, Here's your contact info and the best headshot I've seen in a while. I love it.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you both sharing your knowledge, experience with us. It's such good information. And again, it's easy things that everyone can implement. That's,
Yeah.
I think, the best part about it is it's not one of those things where you sit here and you go, oh, I don't even know where to start. We've taken all that guesswork away, and it's just easy things to implement.
And I think when you're talking about implementation, Lori, I think it's really important. Start with one thing, implement one thing, get extremely good with one thing, and then move on. Sometimes we try to implement multiple things at once and we're just not very good at any of them. So I can encourage you to implement one, get really, really good in your messaging and in your execution in that, and then move on to the next thing.
Love that. Couldn't agree more.
I think the last thing just to say is you're not alone, and the conversation doesn't stop here. So if there was anything that was said that piqued some interest with you, with your sales team, with your marketing team, whatever, absolutely reach out to Lori. She will connect you with somebody from the MTD program, myself or Allie, or maybe even somebody else. And we're here to help. We're all in this together. A rising tide raises all ships. And let's stop being so concerned about what's going on in the market and be concerned about the things that we can control. So
Yeah. I think when you talk
Absolutely.
about it, Sam, over the last 2 years, you said things were easy. I think things were just crazy. You know, things weren't easy. We were just staying afloat, right? Now we actually have the time to slow down and focus on our business. And I think that's what's really the most important right now.
Lori,
Perfectly
thanks for having
said.
us.
Thank you both. Happy
Thanks,
Tuesday.
Lori.
Happy Tuesday. All right,
Thanks, Lori.
you'll get a copy of this soon. Thanks for having us, and we'll see you on the flip side. Bye, everybody.
See ya.